Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast. I am your host, Antonio Bouchel. And guys, we're here today with another great pod. Before we get started in here, explaining who the guests are here today, we're going to, at first, like we always do, tell you to like and share this pod to those who are interested in this topic. I think it's a pretty trending topic, interesting topic to talk about in these times that we're living in, with dealing with mental health, and it's just been a mental health month for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we've been talking about a lot of these different issues, and I'm not, we'll get into that. But anyway, guys, we would love for you to like and share this pod. Guys, we would love for you to go to our YouTube page, which you should be on now. This has been shown on the Roundtable Podcast. We have a Tony and Tasha page that you can also access this pod from, as well as you can go to our YouTube page like it's on the screen. You can also go to our IG, our website. You can go to our website and view this. All of that should be on the screen for you to take a look at, guys. And we thank you for this nice sunny day that you decided to watch this podcast. And I think it's a pretty interesting topic. It's definitely trending. What doesn't trend from celebrities, right? Once they get out there, everybody want a piece of the action to get out there and begin to start talking about what's going on in their lives, right? You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about it today. I mean, it's some interesting conversation that needs to take place concerning this situation, and being a celebrity out there, and being a gospel celebrity, if that matters to people. Maybe you listen to Kirk Franklin, and maybe he's somebody that you inspire to be. I don't know, as a singer, a gospel artist, singer. He did set the trend for a different type of music in gospel industry, where people just didn't even accept him. His style of music, they thought it was, oh my God, what is he saying? Is it too much like the world? But he broke that trend and put it out. So he is an icon in that area. But anyway, I digress from that. So guys, we're going to go into who's on the show so that we can get into what's going on.
Yep. So we have Latresa Rice. We welcome you to the Roundtable Podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank
we
you.
Also have Dr. Shalanda. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Is that correct? Dr. Shalanda?
Shalanda's fine, but the Kangethe is what I always have an issue with. So people just call me Dr. K.
Awesome.
Your audio, see if your audio needs to be turned up just a little bit more, if possible.
So Latresa Rice is a mindset coach. She's a licensed therapist, an author, a motivational speaker. She has published 3 books: Gate to Life, You Choose the Life That You Shall Experience, and Fruit. Let me get back to it. All right, Fruit Circle. So we thank you and welcome you for being here,
Ms. Rice.
And also, Dr. Shalanda she was born in Los Angeles, California, product of a mother strung out on crack and an absent father. She overcame many adversities growing up in South Central Los Angeles. During the height of a gang violence, she graduated top of her class from Argosy and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Antioch University, with a PhD and a master's in counseling psychology. Well, we welcome you.
Dr. Shalanda.
Dr. Shalanda.
Dr. Shalanda, and Miss Rice. Let's go into it.
Yes.
So guys, we know that I guess Dr. Shalanda went out, maybe she getting her internet together, whatever. But guys, we know that, you know, there's been a lot of trending going on around with this Kirk Franklin and his son.
Yeah, we have a little audio.
We're going
to
exactly. We're going to play the video so we can just get right into it. Going on with this concerning this issue. In fact, let's go ahead. Should we wait till Dr. Shalanda gets back in? But you know, guys, you know, it's been a thing going on now with mental health. You know, I mean, you just never know, especially when it comes to social media, when it's just gonna pop up. But it's a lot going on in different people's lives. They dealing with so many topics, issues with their families, and just trying to hold the family together. You know, and then you get meltdowns like this, where it just, you know, it's starting to leak out. You know what I mean? And it just happened to be a family who is admired
in the limelight.
In the limelight so it's no different from any other family. They just happen to be a family that everybody's familiar with, right? So this type of stuff, this type of behavior happens all the time. So I don't want to make this like this just a big deal and we should just be coming at Kirk Franklin or whatever. It's not really about that. You know, but it's about what just happened, what took place.
What are the underlying conditions?
And right. Even I'm not the one who can tell you about the underlying position, because I'm not that's not my profession, right? But I do understand family. I do understand being a father. I do understand being a son. You know, I do understand having problems within those families. And so I can't come from that perspective, which to me,
life experience.
Life experience matters. You know what I mean? That experience. So guys, we're going to get off into it. But before we do it, let's show this video and then we can go from there. Let me see. Are we just waiting for her to put that line?
I did it.
All right. Okay.
So even though it was a little low in it, but we did hear a lot going back and forth from what you gather. I mean, even if you just go ahead and go to YouTube, you can actually put that in and you can actually hear the video that was played. Do we want to play Kirk Franklin's response?
Okay, if our producer can pull it up on YouTube.
Yeah, find that video of his response so we can just
his
play
apology.
It. Yeah, his apology to what? Okay, let's hear it.
For many years, we have had a toxic relationship with him as a family. We've tried for many years through counseling, through therapy, to try to rectify this private family matter. Recently, my son and I had an argument that he chose to record. I felt extremely disrespected in that conversation, and I lost my temper. And I said words that are not appropriate. And I'm sincerely sorry to all of you. I sincerely apologize. I want you to know as a father that during that conversation, I called the family therapist and got that therapist on the phone to try to help. He never played that part of the recording. I'm not perfect. I'm human. Please keep me in my family.
Yeah, it was a little muffled at the end of the man. But okay,
he got a good I'm sorry face. He like, please.
but you know, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You know, this has been an ongoing, from what he said, for about 20 years. He said, for 20 years, he's been dealing with his son, and they've been going to counseling. It's not been something that just over the night, something that just happened. He said they've been seeking counseling for over 20 years. I mean, they've been having issues with him, or just their relationship has been like this for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And he said, you guys are just seeing something that we've been doing all along. And you know, when he said that, you know, he said the disrespectful part about it is that it was being recorded. You know what I mean? And you know, he said that's the part. Mm-hmm. He said, like you heard on the apology, he said that, you know, they did bring in some help, but that part wasn't never put out on the phone call, because they actually have someone who's working with them. But you know, and you know, I mean, obviously he had them on standby to call, and you know, and he called in, but I guess that part wasn't played. So what do we think the real matter is here? Is it all right? Do celebrities or people that's in this type of a world, and I will call him to be, to some eyes, a leader in the gospel realm, do they have time for these type of mistakes? Or is it just something that we need to look at and say, hey, listen, everybody makes mistakes. This thing does happen. It's normal to make a mistake. Or should he pay a price for what just took place? What do we think about that? Ms. Rice, what do you think about that?
Personally, I believe that he's human. We all make mistakes. When we look, even if we're going to look at Christian, we look at scripture, there's everybody that was somebody in the text made a mistake. And if we're talking about holding someone accountable and we're executing that level of judgment, to me, there's not enough information, even in this particular situation, to make that type of judgment call, because we don't know what was said before he went off. We don't have that. Right. All we have is his response to what happened. And many of us, when we even think back to grade school, typically the teacher saw the one that responded more aggressively or more out of the ordinary, if you will, as opposed to how many times did that kid get poked? How many times did somebody throw a paper ball at that kid? What happened to this particular kid before you saw that kid get out the seat and punch Johnny over on the side? Something else happened before that. And if we're going to be human, which means that we have some compassion, we have empathy, then we have to also recognize that as human beings, we make mistakes. Even computers screw up. Sometimes. That's right. Sometimes you have technical difficulties and your computer might shut down in the middle of something that's extremely important. So to me, when we talk about holding accountable and not forgiving and judging Kirk Franklin, I believe it's misplaced. It's misplaced anger at ourselves for making mistakes, instead of embracing the fact that as human beings, we go through issues and we make mistakes. What I love about this is that he came back, he apologized, he said what happened. Do I believe he owed us an apology? No, but I think it's honorable that he did, and when you're in a leadership position, you have to take a leadership role. And for me, when a leader falls, a leader that I say he's in a leadership role because he is in the public eye. A lot of people say, well, you don't owe us an apology. We may not owe it because the only thing we owe is love, according to the scriptures. But at the same time, he's a leader. So there's a greater accountability. There's something, there's greater responsibility there. But he is also a father, which meant that, this is still a private matter. Even though he's a public figure, it's a private matter. They've been having therapy for years. They're still working through it. They haven't given up on the relationship if they're working through it with the therapist. So I don't know. For me, it's who are we to judge in this situation? It's something that got out of hand. I could definitely say this. His son did not honor him by recording him and putting him out there on blast. Put it that way. Right.
That's right. I mean, mother and father. That's right, and that's true. And Dr. Shalanda, I want to say it right. But what I want to add to that, so being someone who's being an artist who pushes out inspirational music to encourage us, to let us know we can keep moving, we can do this. one more step and God gonna take care of you, and all of these different, we make these good fine tunes, throw your hands up and worship,
And
all of this
stomp on all that.
positive,
Stomp.
yeah, all of this positive energy that you push out to help me. And when I heard you say, I'll break your neck, and I can't even say the rest of the words, and don't, you know what I mean? And I'll do this and that. Do he owe us an explanation? I know what Miss Rice said, that he doesn't owe us an explanation. He doesn't owe us an apology, but do he really owe his fans an apology, because of you are the one who should be inspiring us? And now when I hear this back, I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. Hold on now. Maybe you come on now. You got to say something to me now. You got to say that I apologize, or maybe you caught me at a wrong, or listen, I go through this too. Do he owe his people an explanation? Because listen, he got a big fan base out here, and when that's where your money is, you have some people who would say, I'm not listening to you no more. And see, it's different. See, even on your jobs, you will be reprimanded if you were to do something on your job, you're going to get reprimanded. Somebody you're going to have to apologize to, because this is a job that you do. And this job, you can lose your job. You get what I mean? So do we give artists a pass too much? Do we really give them a pass to say, yeah, right. Fine. We get it. We understand you're not perfect. We understand that you said you'll break his neck. I told my son last week I'll break his neck. So I get it. I understand. I mean, do he owe us an apology? I mean, what do you think about that? You sound off now. I can't hear you. We can't hear you at all.
Can our producer help her?
Producer, can you help her in some type of way to see what's going on while her audio is out?
While she's doing that, I'll just say too, like,
go ahead.
And maybe I'm going to be of unpopular opinion or radical, but I think that the fact that he's saying it was a mistake, it wasn't a mistake. It's behavior that he's been displaying for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. So, and I look at the apology kind of separate from his admission that it was a mistake. To me, that's too lenient of accepting his responsibility. Yes, he's human. Mm-hmm. And yes, we have all probably as parents went off on our children. But the anger that he demonstrated with his son was deep-rooted, deep-seated, long-lasting. That was no mistake. It wasn't like, oops. It was, oops, I got caught. But it wasn't, oops, I didn't mean to say those words. Yes, you did. And the fact that he's saying, oh, well, my son didn't show this part, and he didn't show that part. You're making excuses, Kirk. That's your son. That's a child. We'll deal with that. Own what you did. I have a problem, or me and my son have a tumultuous relationship. It's something we're working on. Of course, that wasn't meant for the public. I own it and leave it at that. Trying to find blame to place on his son, it kind of just illustrates how deep the problem is between him and his son, because the public is not the place for you to be trying to place. How does his son feel? Like, if you want to make progress with your relationship, at some point, you got to stop pointing the finger and move forward. So those are some of my thoughts that, again, might be of unpopular opinion.
What does he need to hold on, wait a minute, hold on, RW3, hold on. So my thing is this, right? Did he try to blame? I didn't remember. I don't think he tried to throw blame on to blame the situation, because for one, his son is 31 years of age, 32. So this a grown man. This is not.
You said 23?
33. He's a grown man.
33. He's 33.
33. So we're talking about a grown man. So even into the degree where, was he trying to clean it up in terms of throw the blame on his son, or was he
I
trying?
saw when he said in that video when he was saying like, well, you know, what my son didn't show was that I called the therapist. Like, leave your son out of your apology. Like, to me, that's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, you the one who got caught. Yes, his son was wrong. His son was disrespectful. So it's like I'm not saying take away what his son did, but since he's the one that's apologizing for his behavior, they talk about you, dude. Don't bring your son into this.
Yeah.
He got caught with what? You said caught, Lovely T. When you said he's the one that got caught.
Yeah, because he's saying, "Oh, it was a mistake." Like, "Oops, that slipped out. Oops, I didn't mean to say those words." You meant every word you said.
Yeah,
even in his apology, he didn't say, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that." He said, "I'm sorry, it wasn't appropriate word." So he meant what he said. He just didn't do the right
I don't
word.
know that. I can't see. Here's the thing, right? Now, and Dr. Shalanda, I want you to respond on this. But before you do it, see, my thing is that I don't know. We've all said things that we didn't mean to say. That's a fact. We've always, and we can base those things out of just being angry, where we say things that just emotions start to flare, and now we saying these things. So we can't say that he meant to say these things, because I don't know if we can prove that he meant to say these things out of being angry. You see what I mean? But Dr.
Well, but and I'm gonna let you speak, but I just want to say his apology was not, "I'm sorry for what I said." That was not his apology. So I'll leave it there.
See that.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Doctor. Let's hear what you got to say.
So,
we're gonna write it, because that's interesting what Lovely T is saying.
I looked at it this way, and I was looking at the dynamics of it all, and there's a antecedent to the escalation, right? There's always something there that's underlining that nobody's really paying attention to. Now, the thing that I had seen previously, because I really wanted to get a heart of it, but what escalated to what we saw was something previous before this, and that was a recording. His son was in LA, and while he's in LA, he's working at this some type of shelter or whatever. But the people were saying there were at the shelter where he lives that he purposefully didn't tell people who his father was, meaning he was disassociating himself from the Franklin name itself. Now that tells me a lot, right? Because someone who wants not to be connected to the person in which they come from, that means there's some pain there. Mm-hmm. So while he was there, he constantly kept talking about how he hated the church itself and preachers. And he told them that someone molested him. So that element there tells me something more than what we are seeing here. And I think the thing about it also in the Black community is it's very common for parents to cuss their kids out. Nobody's talking about that. It's a very common factor to see that in the Black community. It's something you see all the time.
Let's say this real quick. Let's say allegedly that that word came up.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, I didn't say who it was. He just said he never said who the person was. That's one thing that came up. He never said who molested him at all. What happened was there was an argument that took place at this facility between him and a homosexual guy. And I guess he felt like the homosexual guy was like coming on to him or something. It was like a dialogue between the two. So what the guy did was he began to play the mutes, because like they found out who he was. Yeah. Because he was changing the spelling of his name, but they finally found out who his father was. He never told them. All he kept saying was someone did something inappropriate to him. Now, I'm looking at the factors because once again, his father came out many years ago as being a sex addict. Yeah. And when you think about a person who have a sex addiction, it's a lot of stuff that take place there. You got to understand that too. And I think I'm looking at all of the layers. Well, I mean, what maybe a sex addiction?
Well, it's still
not just porn. It's not just porn. I mean, given the industry that he's in, it cannot just be porn. That's just what he said. At the end of the day, I don't just look at what someone says to me. I'm looking at the layers of everything and how it goes, because that's what they teach us to do. When it comes to behavior, you're not just looking at what someone says. They teach you all the elements that go along with that. So sex addiction is not just porn. Ain't no way you can just say that. It's more than just that.
That's right. Now, when you, but before you go any farther, let's keep lining this thing before we come out with some type of solutions or whatever. And I want to address what you said, because there is another audio tape. I wish we had a chance to play it. But it was another podcaster that came out. Now, he rolled the tape back probably about 3 or 4 times, and his son, allegedly, I always got to throw that up. Allegedly, his son was saying that when he heard the Kirk Franklin music playing, allegedly, I'm not saying this is the son, but they're saying it is him, saying that, how are you going to play the music of my molester?
Molester. Yes, molester. He did say that.
He said, how are you going to play the song of my molester? And he did say that. Now, here's the thing. Before then, and I'm not a counselor anywhere. Before then, me and my wife was talking. I said that he shows to me signs that he's disturbed. Something is really happening. And to some degree, it could be molestation. That's what I said. Did I say that? Before I even heard this, I said, because he's too deep. In terms, he's too bothered. It's a lot going on. It's almost like he don't have any peace. Like it's something that's taking him from his peace. And I said, it sounds like I said a lot of times when kids are molested, I can't get that word down. About page $50 to say the word molested. It seemed like that's something that he could be dealing with. And next thing you know, it came out that's what allegedly people are saying, that it could be an issue, because what they did was they showed a video of the daughter, and the daughter was playing, and she was going in on her brother, which I hate this. I hate that this taking place on social media like this. But this was what she said. She showed him like he was in this, I don't know where he was, but he looked like he was high. And I don't know if it was because of marijuana. I don't know if it was because of crack, but she mentioned him being a crackhead, allegedly. He's mentioning him to be a crackhead. He said he was on drugs. And I like, wow, and this is what my thought was. I said, what make a person, just because of some arguments that they having back and forth, is it that serious that you this is bothering you that more? And you a grown man now. It has to be something deeper. That he's trying to get rid of. He's trying to get this. He's trying to get an understanding of why it could be. Why did you do this to me? Or we don't know the reason. But I kind of thought it was a little deeper than what we're seeing now. We just now it's just coming to light of some things. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm gonna say it like that. Kirk Franklin will be ruined. He will be ruined. Yes. If that came out. Yes. That came out, he will be ruined. See, I mean, it wouldn't be no more Kirk Franklin as it stands in terms of the industry. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's go back to the argument in terms of the part where, Lovely T said something that was very interesting about he wanted to say this. That was something that was on his mind. And I guess to me, I don't know if it was something that he wanted to say, that I'll break your neck and you all these MFs and all that. I don't know. I disagree with that part, because I don't know if it's something that he wanted to say, to put this man out there like that. Like he just, so that would mean that would be the everyday conversation where they just cuss and fuss at one another.
But it's no difference than when we know a person is drunk. Don't they tell you that's what they say? They say what's on their mind. When in the heat of anger, that which is within you comes out, right? That which is already in your heart comes out. See, the thing about it is, you were correct when you say he's not sorry for what he did. And I'm only saying this because you have to understand the gospel industry. If you do something, they will take their money away, and there is nothing else you will be able to do. The church is very critical when it comes to that. So of course you're gonna do everything you can to clean that up, because once that hit the door, that's it. I don't remember who the singer was, but it was a young lady who was a gospel artist, and something happened very and then it completely ruined her career. Because she said something on social media somewhere, and it just completely ruined her whole gospel career. So understand that he is one of the top paid gospel artists in the industry. Think about that.
But
he's the top paid. Anytime you see a music award show, he's there all the time. So that's a lot of money.
Even from the executive part, he's actually grown. His position has shifted, so it's not just in the music industry now. It's the connection of business and his label that he do business with. So he do have a lot to lose. For RW3, what was you going to say?
I don't. You know, I just learned. I don't even connect the actual gospel music industry as a part of the church. So this is what I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
I know. I think there's some traditionalists, I believe, in the church, based on some beliefs, traditional biblical beliefs, that will cut him off. But he's meant so much in the mainstream. And the mainstream, like R. Kelly, people don't care. They keep buying R. Kelly records. I think Kirk Franklin is so much in the mainstream that he could lose some traditional. But I've been reading online, people like, whatever, he's not perfect, da 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 da. I think some people, if you can still support R. Kelly, you know, there's a lot of people that still going to support Kirk. I do agree it's going to be a hit, but I think there's so many contemporary or quote unquote secular support system that he's still going to make money.
Let's read with Sandra Brown, and then I want you to talk, Ms. Rice. Let's see what somebody read with Sandra Brown. She said something that was.
She said, when you're angry, you say words to hurt. When you're being attacked and feel hurt. Thank you, Sandra Brown. We really appreciate your comment.
She said a few more things. Put up another one.
She also said maybe it's his own choices and decisions that led him there. It's not fair to assume and place that on him without knowing all of the facts.
And see, I agree with that. I don't necessarily want to go to the area that he meant what he said. And I get it. I understand, you guys coming from a professional perspective. But my thing is to say he meant that. What's the purpose of being a gospel artist? I mean, what's the purpose of, listen to when you use the word meant, that's a sharp word. You purposely said these words to a person because this is what you wanted to say. I really want to break your neck. You call them MFs and all this. I forget all the words he said because it was a whole lot of them. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, I don't know if I want to put them in the category of saying that I meant it versus I was angry and these were the emotions that just came out. I get what you say. The heart is full. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. That's what the Bible says. The heart speaks, meaning the mind speaks what the heart is full of. So rage and anger is built up in every last one of us on this platform. To that degree,
that intent is there.
Exactly. We all have those qualities about us. If we're pulled, if the wrong string is pulled, if we're not submitted to something or somebody. So I believe that, that can happen to anybody, but I don't know if I would use the word he meant to say those words. Those were words that were just in him, and like in everybody, if we pull the wrong way, you don't know what's going to come out your mouth. You get what I mean? So I guess that's the intent.
The intent was to harm. The intent was to harm. No matter what, in anger, our intent is to harm. So if you said something, you said it because your intent was to do what? To harm. Now I have 3 kids of my own. All of my kids are grown. Now I raised them up biblically. They're still virgins, my children. Oh yeah. And my oldest son will be 28 this month. So I don't use my mouth recklessly when I'm angry. Why? Because I understand the power of words. So if you're going to see, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to set a standard for myself, I'm dealing with everybody in the same manner. So when I'm angry with my kids, I'm like, hey, not right now. I'm not finna talk to you. Because I know what happens when people are angry. So you set a standard for yourself. Now, the thing about it was the son said the therapist was TD Jakes. So that means that was another preacher on the line.
But actually, it wasn't. It wasn't TD Jakes.
At the end of the day, I don't know. I just know as a therapist, if the therapist was on the line at the end of the day, they still had a large number. But the thing about a lot of this stuff is sometimes it comes out at a time where something very critical is happening in our community. And I look at this is out right now. We're all focused on this thing right here. And what that happens, in, the way you see some things that come out is purposely intent just to keep our mind off of something else. And I look at this situation right here and what was happening before this situation. And don't get me wrong, I know some people be thinking you're on the tinfoil hat thing though, but I still think about Edward Bernays' book Propaganda. When we focused on there's certain things that come out at the time where people are critical and certain decision making are happening. So I think about what was happening before this incident. And that incident was a group of people was issued a protected class, right? Of people on racism. When you focus, when we got all our minds focused on this incident right here, and I look at it this way too. Once again, as I stated earlier, it's very common to see this type of behavior in the community, and that's why what you said was true. It's not going to stop his money, and you're correct. But I also know that it depends on where they are. But because he's a crossover artist, you're right. It won't stop his money at all.
Yeah,
but
so
the thing about it is,
I do believe that it has been a lot of sweep up under the rug in terms of the Black community, not really looking at Kirk Franklin as in the church, setting that to the side in terms of the Black community. It's always been like sweep it under the rug. This don't go outside of the family. You know, this stays in. But when it leaks outside of the family, that's when this whole thing comes. And if things need to be dealt with, those things that's been swept under the rug need to be finally dealt with. And that's just.
Can we get Ms. Rice in here?
I don't think that they were just trying to sweep this under the rug. They were dealing with it as a family. Unfortunately, now it's been put out with all of us having to deal with their family issue, which to me, it's just mind-boggling that we're even still continuing to deal with their family issues, no matter how many issues we all have within our own families. Let's just be real. There's a lot of things that we could really be focusing on. And when I think about, and I can see where you're saying, okay, this was his intent. When I think about intent, when you are angry, a lot of times how you feel deep-rooted does come out of your mouth, unless you are exercising control over that. However, I don't think there's anybody on the planet who hasn't said something that they regret, something that they didn't meet. They did not.
This is true.
Out to say in that particular day.
That's right.
Okay, it happened. You rubbed the wrong way and it came out. Maybe he felt that way because over these years he's been dealing with this same repetitive issue.
Right.
Your patience can be come short after you've dealt with some issue over and over again over a year.
Yes.
And the example that I'm thinking about right now, even biblically, I'm thinking about how, you know, how they the centurion came to grab Jesus and Peter cut his ear off.
Yeah.
Peter cut that ear off, but guess what? Jesus put that ear right back on. At that time, he responded on the impulse. Many times when we are faced with situations, we may be impulsive. Now, was he
this
right?
Is true.
No, he was not right in the impulse. However, I do believe that there's a amount of grace that should be extended. We would want grace extended to us, and why shouldn't we extend it to him?
And I extend grace to R. Kelly? I'm just curious.
Say it again.
Should we extend grace to R. Kelly?
Okay, well, here's the difference between R. Kelly. Wait a minute. Here's the difference between R. Kelly. See, here's the problem that I have. Here's the problem that I have with that statement. You're saying that they're the same on the same level, and they're not. This is someone who's taken advantage of women, who's raped women, who's raped young women, who's deceived young women, put them in area of into even a form of slavery. I mean, this is what this man has done. He's played mind games with young women. So that's a whole different ball game than what Kirk Franklin is dealing with his son in issues.
Kirk Franklin is just fortunate that his audience is a forgiving audience.
I disagree with that.
No. Another
I
thing,
totally disagree with
but
that.
R. Kelly
about the
also
race
has
part,
mental dysfunctioning. Nobody ever talked about his mental issues that come along with his situation.
Wow. So let's get down to that.
Yeah.
Then the thing about it also, Lovely T, when I think about even with the race part, is he, and I don't know, I mean, R. Kelly, like when he beat the first case, he came back out not in the space of, you know what, I need some help. I need to humble myself. The things I've done were not appropriate. It's not okay. He came as if everybody was against him. He didn't do it. Nothing that he's done. Everything's are lies. People tend to extend grace to folks who are humble and ask for grace and ask for forgiveness. I'm not saying right or wrong or indifferent.
One of our viewers, and I can't recall who it was exactly, but they said maybe his son is wanting his father to take some level of responsibility for, this alleged molestation.
Whatever the breakdown is.
Right. And until that restorative justice happens, that wound will remain open, that resentment will exist between the two of them. So, I mean, R. Kelly, and can you put him in the same boat? Maybe not. I was just being facetious and starting mess. But I do think that we have to be careful with giving him a pass just because he might be a gospel singer. That's all.
Well, and I don't think nobody is giving him a pass because of that. And to be honest, nobody's giving him a pass because it's all on social media and people are interviewing him. They're trying to find out what went on. I don't think nobody's giving him a pass, but they want to understand what took place because how it taken place. Now, here's the other thing. Yeah. When they look back at it, they look at the son to say that his son was branding his own organization that he's coming out with. And every time he had this conversation, he put his logo up underneath those statements to say that, are you being really truthful about what, did you purposely do that to gain recognition? So people will pay attention to who you are for your brand. So that has a lot to do. It's so much involved in this. Listen, to get what we want, we'll cut each other's throat. If we really want that, even if it's to put other people down, even our own family members, he knew that he can likely destroy his father's career. You get what I mean? But did he care? Now, from the other perspective, is that maybe this is his way of crying out for the help. Now, here's the other piece of that. You a grown man. You're not a kid. Yeah. You a grown man. You a full grown man. That's the only way you can deal with that situation. I mean, that you would sneak and do a recording. Now I can see if you 17 and you 15 and nobody's going to hear you because of your age. Sometimes kids get pass by and the kid just looking for some type of way to lash out. I get that. It might be more believable, but we're talking about a 30-something-year-old man who's still on the phone and his father talking to him like he's a kid. Mm-hmm. Like I'll break your.
This is true.
Will do this to me again. I mean, that sounds like something that the father say to a younger boy because he really messed up. Now, we don't really know what led to this in terms of everything that the scene of events that took place within the conversation. We don't really know what happened. We just know what we heard. And it still was negative of what we heard. So my thing is this. Should we throw Kirk Franklin under the bus or should he get a pass for this by him being human? What do we think? Maybe Miss Rice. What do you think about that? Should we give him a pass, or should this man be cut out of the industry?
Well, I don't believe he should be cut out of the industry, but at this time, I also don't believe we've given him a pass at all. He has not been given a pass. We got all these different conversations going on social media. They have memes. He has not been given a pass.
No, he hasn't.
So he's still dealing with the consequences from the actions that took place. Now, whether people decide, you know what, he had a moment, and in that moment we failed. We all come short of the glory of God. In that moment, he failed.
That's what I believe.
But it's time to get up and start over.
That's right. Because we're quick to throw the blame on people. We're until it come back to us and meet us down our alley. We're quick to throw the blame on somebody as though you can't react. You're saying that, and this one I don't like to use, but I'm going to use this word. You know, I don't like to use the word, well, we're not perfect, because I think we really need to understand what that means biblically. Yeah. What do you mean? A lot of people don't really know what that word perfect means biblically. You got to search that out to understand what Yah was really talking about when he said the word perfect. So we say, I'm not perfect, and I'm still serving. I'm a perfect. What does he say? Serving a perfect God. I'm an imperfect person serving a perfect God. You know, and that's what y'all know we're not. In other words, going to get everything right. We wouldn't need him for forgiveness if we thought that was the truth. But he didn't mean that word imperfect. But I don't even want to go into that. You guys got to look up the Greek definition and Hebrew word of what perfect really means. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is this, right? You know. And all of this is happening, you know, I think that is more to come. I think that it's going to be more. I don't think we heard it all, but this is what I want to say. No. This is what I'm going to ask the panel, and Doctor, I want you to take this one. Do we believe, or is it this thing out here with Black people? You know, those who are from Michigan knew a guy named Kwame Kilpatrick that was the mayor. A lot of people felt he couldn't do anything wrong, you know, where whatever he did, there was some things that were obvious, but we still gave him a pass to say, we still want him to be our mayor. You know, do we, and I think it's some more Black leaders that felt in that same, I'm gonna jump out there and I'm gonna throw this one out there. I'm gonna throw this one out there, and I know people are not gonna like this one. But did we give Obama a pass? Who I know we can go. I can go there. And I can draw some paperwork. But when I say did as Black folks, we give people passes because they're our color, and Black people are very quick.
Yes.
We're very quick to give somebody a pass and say, you know, it's all right. You know, long as he didn't affect me personally, then I'm good. Are we quick to give Black people, are Black people, because that's his audience, pretty much. I'm quite sure his audience is Black driven. Yeah. He might be all over the world. Yeah. He might be all over the world. I get it. But are we quick to give our own people a pass?
Doctor, we do give them a pass for bad. We give them a pass for bad behavior all the time, and we do it because we have this notion of, well, nobody else like us. At least we got to support our own, no matter what. We have that tendency to do that, and they know that we are forgiving people, which is why they issue the apologies. And they know once they issue the apologies, we're like, okay, he apologized, so we good now, and that is how we are. But we don't. But we don't set a standards, and that's going back to what I said earlier. Yes, it's there. Those underlining issues for that child, and I know he's not a child, but remember, he's a man. That trauma that took place. We're still dealing with a child in the mind, because they teach you that in psychology. Wherever that trauma happens, you don't ascend from that if you don't heal. So we're still dealing with a child here in the mind. Exactly. Yeah. And think about it. He's been in therapy for years and have not had any solace in there.
Are they only family therapy, or does he have a personal therapist as well?
Well, he never stated.
I don't know. They didn't say.
Yeah, they never said. But see, okay, go back to what you said again when you said something about the mind, because you cut off. I didn't really understand that part. Say that again. When you said about the kid's mind.
You in psychology, they tell you when a trauma happens, especially if it's in your young child, you stay at that age. You don't grow. Your body grows, but mentally you're stuck. So when you're dealing with this person, you're still dealing with the child where that trauma took place. And think about it. If the trauma is constant and it's continually on, you can tell there hasn't been any healing for this young man. And see, that's where I was going with it earlier when I was like, I need to get behind the root of it all. And when you find out that he was molested, and then the fact that and once again, we go with the allegedly because we weren't there, but I just put things together. It's very similar to the Michael Jackson thing. And I picked up something with that a young boy said, and no, I've never heard anyone say anything after it. The young man said, we would have these sleepovers and he would bring his friends. And the first thing to my mind is like, okay, what the you friends, you bringing your grown friends to a sleepover? That don't sound appropriate to me. But we don't catch on to the key things spoken when certain things are happening. And I thank God that he gave me a mind to analyze in a way that most people don't see. But I've never heard anybody discuss that statement I'm saying right now about Michael Jackson and that kid saying, yeah, we had sleepovers and he would invite his friends. Now, to me, that sounded like something was going on, and that thing was having a lot going on. And the fact that he also practiced sex magic. See, and that part too, we just let people slide, and we don't put all the things together when they show us who they truly are. And I think that's the thing about our culture, that is a disservice to us, that we don't hold people accountable for their actions. We are a forgiving people, yes, but we also have to hold people accountable for the things in which they do. Because once again, we live in a world where children see things and they reenact everything that they're seeing. And one thing about the entertainment arena is most of them want to go with this is just my job, but I'm not a role model. Well, if you put yourself in a place where the public is viewed, it doesn't matter if you want to be a role model or not. You've already put yourself in that place.
Let me throw this out here. I want to ask this, not to cut you off, but RW3, do you believe that he owed his fan base an apology?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Don't
why? Because you're a public
figure.
Tell
me why. Why don't he?
Because he's a public figure.
Hold on, but let me just say this. I want to add this. RW3. RW3.
Go ahead.
Why don't you believe he owed? Because I'm just trying to get an understanding so our audience will know. We just can't say it. Yeah. Give me reasons. Like, why don't he owe them an apology?
Number one, and this is just my perspective, because when I think about the music industry, I'm not holding the gospel music industry to biblical, like Bible. If I had an altar, I go to that person, then we bring it to the church. Correct. So I don't hold that. That's a secular industry to me. So my thing is, I'm making music, you're buying my music, and if you don't want to buy my music anymore, that's fine. If you want to keep buying it, that's fine. I only owe my asking God for forgiveness and trying to make things righteous with my family. Like, we have a business relationship. Like, we're not, I don't owe you anything. There's nothing, I'm apologizing to who? Who am I speaking to? It's like an abstract object. Who's going to say I forgive you? That whole concept of anytime I see somebody coming out to the public and doing a news conference, for me, is nonsensical. It makes no sense to me when it comes to things in your private life. I never agree with that. Unless, hold on, let me back up. If it's a public figure that I voted for, and then that you're a public, like Kwame, or I think somebody mentioned about Coleman Young, or someone who has, like when I was a principal. When I was a principal, had I slapped a teacher, I should have came out, because public funds, they're supporting me, taxpayers. So I owe the public an explanation for my behavior, because I'm being supported through taxpayer funds. Their entertainment, when people are taking their money and making a choice to deal with these people, I just don't agree with
But
someone
I
that
mean, but
has
it's
that.
you're kind of
Interesting.
Yeah.
you're kind of saying
It's
the
still
opposite
public
in your
still,
statement
yeah.
because you're saying
They are
that
public.
they are public, and it is,
No,
and it is.
Yeah, they
Yes,
are.
he owes
They are.
his constituency an apology, just like a principal would, just like
Yes.
a mayor would. You have a constituency, and
I don't agree.
that constituency is the audience that makes that choice to listen to your music.
Absolutely.
His music. Yeah.
So
See,
he does.
but that's the choice. See, the thing about it,
They're
as a
playing
public
into
figure,
to something.
when I look at my check and the taxes we pay, they forcibly take all these different taxes and distribute them to all these different people against my will. So because of that, you do
Whether it's by choice, RW3 or force, it's still a constituency that listens to you.
no.
Go ahead, Miss.
If you owe an apology, then it's not genuine. If you're saying that you owe this to me and I'm glad to have it,
Yeah.
then I don't want that. I want a genuine apology.
Yes.
Well, let me ask y'all this. Let me
And
ask-
his was
let me ask-
not
hold on,
genuine.
Let me ask you this.
Not
I want to
Miss
come
Rice.
back to the viewer too when you're done.
Miss Rice, let me ask you a question. So,
Yeah.
based on what RW3 said, he don't believe that he owe his people, although his fan base who listened to him for years and music that he's put out, and they help feed his family. They've been the guys
That's
to
a
why he
ministry.
live in that house today, and how he drive that fancy car and take care of the roads. He raised his family. They helped him to get that
Yeah.
award. It was by the people and for the people that helped elect it. I mean, all of these things that he portrayed to be this image in this public eye,
Yes.
where people looked at him and
Yes.
said, "Hey, I like his music. I like what he's doing, and I'm going that hard money that I worked for, that I go up there and I'm gonna pay for and download his music." He don't owe him an
It's a
apology.
ministry.
He don't feel like he owe him anything. Listen, y'all caught me slipping, and that's what it is. I'm just like you. Hey, my CD coming out next week. Okay,
That's
so
it. That's it.
RW3 says that he doesn't owe him an apology. Now, Miss Latresa, do you believe that he owe these people an apology, just as if you were working? And now here's the thing, this is his job. This is a career. This is a job. If you are at a job right now, your job, and your boss, and you went and you did something against a client, the first thing, and you were wrong, you don't think your boss gonna come up to you and say, "Hey, listen, you got to get this right, because this is where our money comes in, and you got to straighten this out now. I need you to make an apology, and I need you to figure out how you're going to make this thing right, because that's where your base comes in. That's how we that's how we make our money." What do you think about that, Miss Rice?
Personally, I have an issue with the term "owe." This is not. That's his son. I think we're losing that element. This is his son. That's not his job. That has to do with his private family matter.
It's his ministry too.
Yeah, but even with that, should you apologize? For example, even in some churches, if the a young lady gets pregnant, they have her come up and give an apology. What, does she really owe the whole church an apology for being pregnant at the church? No. If she's a part of the ministry, a leader of the should she? Okay, yes, but however, it should be something from the heart, not because we're sitting here demanding an apology because we gave you some money, like we owe you, like we own you in some kind of way. No, I don't believe we own Kirk. We don't own him. Yeah, they came out to the public light, and I don't feel that he owe no man nothing except to love them. I believe he owe love, but as far as owing us an apology, no. Should he apologize? Yes. So I think the term "owe" is an issue for me.
I like that. I do. I like that.
Yes.
And I wanted to take it back to the one person. First of all, thank you for sharing with us today about your traumatic experience in your childhood. And I hope that you are receiving the help that you need and are continue to grow through that. But you are right. There's a huge power dynamic. And again, this is based on my experience, my expertise, if you will. I don't consider myself an expert, because we don't have all the facts. But I do know a little bit something about sexual assault survivors. And like you said, there's an arrested development when trauma happens. And when there's no restorative justice, it just continues. It ruins relationships. And Kirk Franklin is a very powerful man. And so when people resort to drastic measures, you can't just look at them and say, oh, they're crazy. You need to ask the question, what went on that they felt they needed to go to that extreme in order to get attention or help or that thing drawn to the light? One thing Kirk Franklin said was this was a private matter. Now, do I believe in privacy? Absolutely. But one of the things that keeps perpetuating the trauma is the silence. And so when you're like, this is a private thing. Okay, well, I'm just throwing that out there to give honor to the survivors. Again, I can't speak to 100% if it's true or if it's not. But those are some of the dynamics that play out. And it could be why he did such an extreme thing.
Well, let me throw this. Maybe this is a statement or a question. This is my personal thing. So you mean to tell me, I'm asking a question, that when you talk about the restoration or restorative justice, that I believe that depending on another human being to quote unquote make me whole, or I can't move on, and I can't depend on God to make me whole. Because what you're saying is I'm going to be in a perpetual arrested development or a place where I can't move past it unless that specific person comes back and restore me. That means where's God in this? Because God can do it without that person ever coming in to apologize, to make amends or anything, because he could do it without that. So, I struggle with this.
He can heal. He can definitely heal all. I do believe that, but I'm talking about justice.
He definitely can. And at the same time, he may also use professionals, a therapist, to help you in that process of healing. Because sometimes the person is not even living anymore. That may have done something to you, and you still need to move beyond where you are. There are different resources that are available to help you move from where you are to where you're destined to be.
I just believe.
Well, the God component.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the God component. I don't think he was there when we were talking about how the young man said he had no faith in the church because of what happened to him. So he can't look to God to heal him from anything when that's not a factor to him right there. And then the healing itself is based on the person when they are ready to be healed. See, that's that other component too. You can make somebody go to therapy all day long, but if they're not ready to do it, then it's not going to work. And then we already know this. Why? Because you've already said they've been in therapy for years. And clearly, once again, you got substance, you got a lot of things, all of these dynamics happening with him. We know that something is wrong here. And I think that's the part that everybody's looking at his father, and I get that. But right now, since the discussion is about the healing factor, he has to want that. It's like children when their parents get divorced and that hurt is there and they holding on that for their whole life. Who are we to tell them when it's time to heal? He can only know when it's time to heal for himself and when he's ready to get that healing. But if somebody is forcing you to do something, it's not going to happen. We know this with addicts. It's the same thing. It's no difference. So it's a lot of factors here.
Let me ask this question real quick. I want to ask this question in the area of, okay, so, all right. Do we believe that the son, here's the thing. I want to make sure that we make this clear. No one's saying that some type of a sexual abuses have happened that has not been proven. There's been allegations, and I don't want to liken this to that as though this is what's going on. These are all alleged statements. No one's come out and no proof. This man hasn't been found guilty of any of this stuff. And I know we can think it from the signs that we see, but this hasn't been proven. So until then, I'm not likening this to this and this type of behavior. Okay, so until the other spin on this, can we say that the son is looking for an apology from his father, whatever that is? He's looking for an apology to heal. But if he's not, because here's my thing, when you go get help, this man has said he's went to go get help. They had an ongoing worker there who's helping them figure this stuff out. At the same time, they've been dealing with these challenges for 20 years. 20 some odd years they've been dealing with this. So are we saying, or do we believe that this man never, Kirk Franklin, never owned up to anything to say he's apologized or he's sorry? Do you believe that's have happened?
I can't even say it, but I can't say it all. And I think that's the thing too, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, is at the end of the day, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. We're only getting a tad bit of it. But once again, there is some underlying issue here. And I think if we just look at that perspective, that there's an underlying issue here, and I see that he needs healing at the end of the day. And when and I'm gonna go back again, because we're looking at him as a public figure, but this man is also a minister, because he uses that, say he's a minister. So it's not just about his career. This is also something that he does himself. Yeah. As a minister, you're gonna counsel too. So you should know exactly the things that like I said, I'm a parent. Kids frustrate. My kids get on my nerves too. But there are certain extremes that I'm not going to do as a parent, and that's just me. Some people react differently based on what they have been. And remember, Kirk Franklin himself comes from a place of what? Abuse, because he has talked about that. So you're looking at someone who's dealt with abuse in his life, so forth, and you're looking at the way someone is responding. I just look at all of the factors. You just got to put it all together in the way you see things. And I'm not judging him personally. I'm saying that something's here. And there's something more than what is being exposed to the public. And I think that's the thing that we need to hit and go from there. Now, whether it's our business or not, if you make it your life to be in the public eye, you already know that family issues and everything, all of that comes with it. So before you make a decision to want to be a part of the public interest, you better know dirt is always going to be there to expose. So you try your best to live a life that is exemplary to keep dirt from being exposed. I'm just saying.
No, that's true. But you know what? I know we got to close it up. We got to close this up. But what I was about to say was, I guess my thing is that I think that there's come a time in your life when you're going on a certain age where you have to find that healing place. You have to get that help, because if you're still crying out in this situation, thinking the source that hurt you is going to help you, and if it hasn't happened now, maybe
it's not going to happen.
Turn and go somewhere else to start the process on you, and let that person deal with how they deal with it, and you start to get the healing for you. And I think that if I had to say anything, I would say that if he hasn't reached out to get that response that you're looking for, it's time to move on and you start working on you, because you got to get over that. Maybe somebody's dealing with that same type of issue where they're constantly looking at that person who hurt them to heal them. You know what I mean? And you can't do that. You have to turn. You can't keep going down that same road.
Yeah.
The help is not there for you. Maybe God will touch their hearts one day and they will be able to come to you one day and ask you for forgiveness. But until then, you can't keep allowing yourself to become poison. You can't keep poisoning your own self with all of this negative energy that you have based up, and you're looking to come after this person, and there's so much hate that's built up within you. Now, I know, like the doctor said, that you got to find, in order to get help, you got to want to get help. But see, here's the thing. You better do it before it's too late. Yes. Because there is a time called too late, where it can be too late, where now, you know, you're sick in your body, you know, because of these different toxics that you placed in the line to stay there, because you didn't know how to go and get help and say, listen, I need to help me. This is not about him. This is not my person who hurt me. This is about me, so I can be free. So I can be free. And I think that, and we just likening the Kirk Franklin. Maybe you may be struggling with that same situation where you just don't know how to let it go. You're going to have to. You're going to have to. Whether it's now or later, you're going to have to. If you're going to be better in dealing with you as a person, because you might not even like yourself. You might believe that you're the reason why this happened, which is not. You know what I mean? You didn't cause these issues on your own. But you have to know that, listen, you have to get help. You have to get help, and pray for that person that they will find that help too. You know what I mean? God is in the exposing business. See, here's the thing about that. God is definitely in the exposing business. After so long, He gonna expose it, and we just gonna sit back and find out what happened. It's gonna be exposed. If it's the truth, it's gonna be exposed. God give you so much to before you get it together. Before He step in and say, "Well, you know what? You weren't listening. You gonna listen now, because I'm gonna put you out there." So I mean, you know, it is what it is. So guys, listen. We
right there. That's the one.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. So, guys, I know we have to go because we got to get the other podcasts in.
Is it Dr. Shalanda? Does she have anything? Do you have a service or anything that you would like to tell anyone that's maybe watching?
I do. It's actually on my Facebook page. And I'll send you my information. I see that I didn't get it. I give it to you, so I'll make sure I add that to you. That way you can put it up if you like.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, and you can find me on LinkedIn with that name too.
That's great. Awesome. Listen, we love having you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we got to move to the next topic.
Very warm, welcoming personality.
That's right. Definitely interesting. Yeah, but guys, listen. We like you to like and share this pod. We're doing something different now, where the next one is going to be post production. It's not going to be live, so that we can actually play that other pod during the week. So we won't be on as long now, so we can play the other and during the week, because a lot of our pods, if we run this long, for one, other people are not going to watch it that long. And then for two, it could be a good podcast. We don't want people to miss out on that topic. So guys, so that's what we're doing now. We're going to just run it, post, and then we'll run one live. And so you might not see us on that long anymore, so that we can get other ones out to stay fresh and those pods, so they won't miss out on those conversations. So we like to thank you guys. We like you to like us.
I had a good time.
That's right. And I think we're going to be posting. We haven't set a date to where we're going to post. Maybe it'll be on a Wednesday for the second one. But guys, we thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Go subscribe to the pod. And we thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
That's right.
Lovely day.